Ken, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, I just sent you the doctor link.
Okay, I will. It hasn't arrived yet, but I will get to it in just 1 second and get the administrator stuff. Doctor link. Yeah, there we go.
Cool. So you're on, and Melissa Murphy's on, so I'm going to unmute Melissa. Hi, Melissa.
Hello, Shelby.
How's it going?
I'm good. How are y'all doing?
Good. Thanks for joining us, and thanks again for the donation. I'm going to send out letters in the mail, in that old snail mail. We've had a and want to make sure to send that along, but thank you so much. It's a huge help.
Oh, absolutely.
Yes, thank you so much. We're starting to recover a little bit. We still obviously need lots more money, but it's been very helpful to every contribution's been helpful, and yours was fantastic. So thank you so much.
My pleasure.
Thank you, Melissa. We're able to. We've got another shirt run going now. Should be done by the end of this week, and then got some buttons ordered, some metal buttons, not just stickers. The stickers too, but metal buttons will be really helpful, I think, for those that don't necessarily have a T-shirt or don't want to wear a T-shirt. So thank you.
Yeah, I agree.
Reuse when you're out. So we have little round stickers to put on your shirt, but then they're like one-use things. So I figured maybe the metal buttons would be useful for circulators to wear while they're out circulating.
I think that's a great idea.
And it looks like we've got Linda on the call. I've unmuted you, Linda. Hi, Linda. How's it going? Linda, are you there?
May have muted herself.
Potentially. We can't hear you, Linda, but maybe she's just joined the call and is like me running to grab a beer or something. I taught all day today, and I'm just as frazzled as can be, so I apologize for that.
Finally got my grades submitted for the summer, which was 3 days late, but the way it goes. So I've been kind of going crazy the last couple of days myself, getting them all read. A lot of my students waited to the very last second to submit dozens of pieces of paper that I needed to look at, so it was crazy.
I know how that goes, Ken. And you're just not working hard enough. Just kidding. Linda, are you on the call? Can you hear us? I've got everybody unmuted at this point, but feel free to chime in anytime, Linda, if you're on there. We'll just wait and see who else joins. I think it's still a little bit early, and we'll see how folks join in.
Hi, this is Linda.
Hi, Linda.
Hi, Linda.
This is Shelby and Ken and Melissa Murphy.
Okay, cool. I don't know Melissa. I'm from Riverton.
Hi, Linda.
Thanks.
I'm from Laramie.
Hey. Well, I hope a bunch more people come on. We've got quite a few up here working on circulating.
Yeah, you guys are doing great up in Fremont. I'm looking forward to being up there in October.
Yeah, when is that? The 6th, 5th, and 6th?
Something like that. It's a Friday, Saturday, Thursday, Friday, I think. There's a Thursday night thing and then a Friday night thing. And I was talking with Margie about maybe doing a day of action on that Saturday morning.
Okay.
So,
yeah, she did. She mentioned that to me, like learning the van system.
Right. That's one of the things we want to talk about tonight was how to do a day of action, which does require using van we call it cutting a turf. Basically, you use van to draw a picture on a map. And then every registered voter inside the box you draw shows up on a list. It's really easy to do, and really important because you can look at a neighborhood on a map view, and then say this is a distinct neighborhood. Draw a big box around that, and bingo, your list of registered voters inside the box shows up. You can print it out and go knock on all those doors. It's really easy.
Okay, sounds good.
Pretty slick, actually, when you see it done. We'll talk about how to do that at some point, yeah.
I went ahead and, since we've got more people joining, I've muted everybody except for Ken and myself, but we'll here in very shortly we'll do some quick introductions, name, county, role, and things like that. We just want to see who else is going to join here. And just so everybody knows, I think most people know the drill by now, but if you do have a question and everybody's muted, if we have few enough people, nobody will be muted, but if you're muted, if we have a lot of people, just press 1 on your dial pad, and that basically raises your hand on Ken and I's screen, and that way we know you have a question and we can unmute you to speak. Also, just a quick note, this call will be recorded for any team leaders or data managers that couldn't make it on for one reason or another. Just so they can listen to this call and get a sense of where we're going with things. I think we're going to do that with as many of these conference calls as we can moving forward, and it's a great benefit that we can do that. So that's just a quick FYI. Yeah, so a couple more people joining, so we're going to wait here just a couple more minutes and see who all gets on. Everybody is muted right now except for Ken Chestek and myself, Shelby Shadwell. And we'll jump on and first we're going to do quick introductions and a check-in and give you some updates on our end at the steering committee level and go through a number of things. I think this will be a really productive call. But as more people join here, I'll just remind you, everybody's muted. If you have a question, just press 1 on your dial pad, and we'll unmute you if you have a question at any time, depending on how big this gets. But also, this call will also be recorded, just so you know, for those team leaders, data managers that couldn't jump on. Data wranglers is our new term for that. I think, Ken, you approve of that as well?
We're a Western state. We wrangle things. That's fine by me. I like it. We wrangle data. I mean, I think that's a big part of this campaign. Yep, absolutely.
And it makes it more fun, if you ask me.
Right.
It's more fun to wrangle data than to manage it.
Right. So we've got 10 people on the call now, and it's 7:04. So maybe we can go ahead and get started and let people catch up as they join the call. So I'll start off with, I'm Ken Chestek. I think I know everybody on this call already. I sent around the agenda, and we'll just kind of go down through quickly. Let's just kind of one by one introduce ourselves so we all know who's on the call. So Shelby, you want to just unclick or unmute one by one, and we'll go through and say who's here?
Yeah, I sure will. I'm unmuting Sarah Salsi. If you want to check in and just say who you are, where you're at, and what you do. Hold on, almost unmuted. Here we go.
Sure. This is Sarah Salsi. I'm in Albany County, and I am one of the co-team leaders.
Thank you, Sarah. We have Chris Bell, who I know, and if you want to check in and let everybody know who you are.
Hey everyone, my name is Chris, helping Wyoming Promise primarily with the data aspects and working with several of you on getting trained up and making sure our data entry is efficient.
Thanks, Chris.
We've asked Chris to join the call tonight because we are going to start talking about how to make the pivot to the door-to-door canvas, and Chris is going to help with that, also doing some training on VAN on how to cut turfs, things like that. So thank you, Chris, for being here. Okay, keep on going.
Yeah, so we have Melissa Murphy. You are unmuted.
Hi, I'm Melissa. I'm co-team leader with Sarah here in Albany County.
Thanks. And we have Fran. Fran Wolf, are you check in with us? Let us know where you're.
This is
ahead,
Fran.
Yes.
I'm the data wrangler in Sheridan County.
Okay. Welcome and thanks for joining the call. We've got a lot of information tonight for the data wranglers, so I'm glad you're here.
Yeah, thank you, Fran. Margie, do you want to check in?
Hi, this is Margie Farias. I'm in Lander, Wyoming. I'm the team leader for Fremont County.
Welcome. Thanks for joining.
And we have Rachel, if you want to check in. You're unmuted.
Good evening, Rachel Wexler, team leader, Sublette County.
Thanks, Rachel.
Welcome, Rachel.
And Chris, you want to announce yourself?
Sure. Chris Corfonta, Sheridan County, and I'm sorry if I bleep out later. I'm late coming home from a kayak trip, and we're on the highway. I'm a team leader for Sheridan County.
Awesome. Thank you, Chris. We are going to record this call, so if you miss any part of it and you want to listen to it later, we're going to send that link out tomorrow. Thank you. And Carol, you are unmuted.
I am Carol Smith, and I'm in Lander, Wyoming, Fremont County Data Wrangler.
Awesome. Thank you for joining us. And here, Linda, if you want to announce yourself.
Hi, I'm Linda Olinger. I'm from Fremont County, and I'm a circulator.
Okay, welcome. Thank you for being here.
So again, everybody.
Our current list.
Yeah, that's our current list. Everybody's muted. If you do have a question or a comment, just raise your hand. It can get a little overwhelming with so many people on the call. So I'm going to hand it over to Ken, and so he can move forward.
Okay, and I do want to just kind of quickly just have a check-in. We've got a number of team leaders here, and the team leaders are here are the counties that are doing really well. So let me just quickly go around the horn, and I don't care, Sarah or Melissa from Albany County. Shelley, let's unmute both of those, and then they can update us very quickly as to how things are going in Albany County.
Sarah and Melissa.
Sarah.
Yeah.
I was going to say, Melissa, you go for it.
Okay. Well, things are going well. We have a lot of circulators doing well, and a few doing phenomenally well. We've got the school year starting up, so that's going to be a whole new set of potential signers, we're hoping. And one thing we're looking at is trying to take advantage of the football game. So if there's anybody out there statewide that is coming down for the football games, let us know and we can coordinate something. I have people ask me a lot how well we're doing statewide and how well we're doing countywide. We don't have any of our data managers on this phone call, but we'll ask them about Albany. But I think I don't know if it gives people more energy to go out there if they see we're making progress, but people ask the question a lot.
Okay. And we do have, and when we get to Chris, later on the agenda, we'll have Chris update us. I think we have some numbers that are not yet complete enough. I'm a little worried about putting too many numbers out that are incomplete and they look smaller than they really are at this point. Mm-hmm. But we do have some numbers, some preliminary numbers that we can share with you, and that's on the agenda for later on in the call. Okay, so we also have Lander here. Margie, you want to give us an update?
Just a moment. I'll unmute Margie. There we go. Or wait, hopefully.
All right. We're plugging along. I have had a personal setback here, but I think that things are moving forward. I've just counted my list right now. It looks like I have 22 circulators. That includes myself. I would say there's probably about 6 or 7 of those people who are pretty active. Some of them are not responding very frequently, so I think we need to talk to Carol about whether or not, or about what kind of numbers we've generated so far. But I'm encouraged, and I heard yesterday that I have a couple more people who are interested in being circulators. And of course, we're looking forward to the public meetings that are coming up in the first week in October in Lander and Riverton. And I think Linda is going to inquire at a business in Riverton where we might have a place for people to sign the petition that I hope we can advertise in the press release.
Great. Excellent. So I'm looking forward to being up there in October, and we do at some point, either on the call or maybe after the call, want to talk about, do we want to do a day of action on Saturday? I'll be there Thursday and Friday. Maybe we can just do a day of action Saturday morning before I head back home. So that would be fantastic to get a whole bunch more signatures. I think these days of action are going to turn out to be our biggest way to get names on the petitions. So
I went ahead and
you're doing. Go ahead.
I went ahead and unmuted Carol and Linda as well, being up in the similar area, if they have anything to add.
I have about 60 pages that I've put into the system already, and it's looking like there's a little over 10% of them that have issues. But as of today, I'm sending the circulators those names on their petitions and the issues that they're having, and some of them have agreed to go back out and recontact them to see if we can't get those accurate.
That's fantastic. Excellent. Thank you so much. Linda, anything to add?
No, nothing to add.
Okay, good. I see that Kathy Denman has joined the call. Maybe it's Mike. I'm not sure if it's Mike and Kathy. Shelby, you want to unmute Kathy or Mike and check in and just let us know how things are going over in Sweetwater.
We're sorry we're late, but we were to the farmer's market and went down to our famous Chinese restaurant, got supper, and we both of us did 12 signatures just this afternoon in less than an hour.
Okay, cool.
So it's starting to get there. We're about 2.5 petitions each now. We're not sure about the other folks because, well, we had to go photograph a wedding. So okay. I didn't get everybody else called.
Okay, yeah, Sweetwater's doing great, and when we get to the numbers later on, we can verify that. But I think you're doing fantastic over at Sweetwater, so thank you for all your efforts. Okay, let's move on. Sublette County, Rachel. Shelby, you want to unmute Rachel and let's get a check-in from Sublette?
Yeah, Rachel's unmuted.
So I think that we are right on track. There was kind of a lull at the end of the summer with people finishing up their summer activities, and I have a couple of circulators who are just stellar and have gotten a ton of signatures. And in total, there's about 7. Something exciting that's going to happen is Ken is coming to talk at a dinner party that's going to be hosted by some members of the old guard here in and about town, and that's very exciting. And I'm hoping that I will get some additional circulators from that party. So I think we're making really good progress. Everybody has great ideas about going to some of the football games and the other sporting events that are going to be occurring this autumn. I don't know what else to say. I just am so appreciative of my circulators. They have really been kicking ass. Pardon my French.
Excellent. Yes, you guys are doing fantastic. We talked just what Rachel just mentioned. I'm going to be out there on a Friday night. What is it, the 7th of September? A couple of weeks.
The 8th. The 8th, right?
The 8th. Okay. So it's Friday's the 8th and Saturday's the 9th. So on the 8th, I'm going to be down over in Pinedale, going to this gathering, which I'm really looking forward to. Is there anything else on Friday that we could be doing? Because on Saturday, I'm going to be heading up to Jackson.
So not to my knowledge, when we discussed the party versus public comment, we thought we would generate more interest in a sector that we weren't reaching, as opposed to doing a public comment. I will say, so I think that you're just on the hook for that, probably. I am but what we are doing in preparation for that and towards that end is we're going to get some articles in the local paper. There's two papers, but they're basically the same thing. And also the Pinedale Online website, and hopefully the radio station also. And I think we're going to just use the generic press release, but we're also going to add, if you are interested in signing, call so-and-so or meet so-and-so, and have certain hours on certain days where people can go and sign. And hopefully we'll just run that on some sort of loop. So people are always getting hammered with that, not obnoxiously, but, every couple of, maybe Tuesday and Friday. So people just keep hearing it.
Yeah, that's great. So, and one other thing, on Saturday, I'm going to head up to Jackson. We don't have a team yet going in Teton County, and part of what I'm doing up there is try and get a team going. So on Saturday morning is the Old Bills Fun Run, which apparently is, I've never been to it, but it sounds like it's a very massive event where a lot of nonprofit agencies gather in a town square, and they have booze, and there's a lot of people there. It's a big fundraiser, and we need to get some people there with free and fair election T-shirts, walking around with clipboards, and I'm going to be one of those walking around with a clipboard. I don't have a lot. I have a couple of people I'm trying to encourage from Teton to go out there with me, but if a couple of people from Pinedale could drive up on Saturday morning for a couple of hours, that would be fantastic too. So you might want to mention that.
I'm working on it. I sure am working on that. I have a couple of people in mind. Everybody has just been crazy with their end of summer schedules, to be honest, including myself. And so I have a couple of people in mind that are really good at that sort of thing. So I'm hoping that they'll accompany you up there, and also maybe try and reach out to some of my people up in Jackson. Who are supportive, but I don't know if they have the time or energy to invest. But hopefully you will be taking, or a couple of people from Sublet will be accompanying you.
Actually, I'm probably going to drive up on Friday night after the meeting.
Okay.
Because it's fairly early. It's like 8:30 in the morning is when things get started at Old Bill. So I have a hotel room for Friday and Saturday night in Jackson. So I'll be there first thing in the morning. And then Saturday afternoon we have a public event, and hopefully to be followed by, if anybody at the public event is interested in becoming part of the team, we'll have a team meeting after that. So it's part of my effort to try and get a team going in Teton. Okay, thank you, Rachel.
Go ahead. You bet. Thank you. Oh, no, that's okay.
Okay. So lastly, let's hear from Sheridan. Chris, and you want to Chris and Fran, why don't you unmute them and let us know how things are going up in Sheridan.
Yeah, Chris and Fran are.
I'll let Fran talk in a bit because I think she did story days and we haven't communicated. But I think two things that are looking up for us is we had another person agree to help be a team leader, and then the other thing is that a law office has agreed to have petition there, and it's a husband-wife thing, and so they have two petitions, so whoever's manning the office, and so we're going to be advertising where people can go sign. And I think we have about 10 petitions out, circulators, so that's where we are there. Fran, did you make it to story days?
Well, sort of. I kind of wimped out. I've had a bacterial infection that's really laid me low, but we had a situation at Story Days which I do not know if this should be addressed in this call. I don't think so, but I think it needs addressing. The circulator who started working story days began working very early in the morning when the crowds were pretty light, and she was talking to people, and since her name isn't out in public at this point, I feel free to speak as to her. I can't think of any word except ignorance of how to speak to the public. Now, quite a few of us have been in professions where this comes quite easily. And to be frank, I thought that was her situation. If I would have understood that it wasn't, I would have gotten up off my sick bed to come and help. But he came to me a couple hours after she started circulating and was upset and a little bit angry because the people wouldn't listen to her. Now, since I didn't see any of the interactions, I don't know what happened, but I've hung out with friends who are in OFA, and there's a certain body language that I'd say you carry when you're a circulator. And I wonder if this can be trained, since this is a rather short-term experience we're having here in Wyoming. At least we really hope it's going to be short-term. Or if we should even just have a handout for circulators to give them an idea of how to approach people and how to deal with people who want to talk to you, and also deal with people who are confrontational.
That's a great point. I think we do have some training materials. I'm not sure if we have that specific piece of it, but we can talk with you further, Fran. I think we do need to get some other things done on this call so we can deal with that specific situation after the call.
Yeah.
But I do want to thank you for raising these concerns, and we'll definitely address these as soon as we can after the call.
Okay.
Okay. So, and then Kathy has her hand up.
Yeah. Let me just quickly chime in there, Ken, if I may. We do have training materials from American Promise that we can share. If I haven't already sent out those links, I will by tomorrow for sure. I've got that written down. We've got training things. Kathy, unmuted?
Okay, Mike.
Okay, yeah.
It's Mike.
I just had one quick question. I was wondering, I've browsed through the Vote Builder, and what I was hoping to find was some kind of reporting where I could generate a report of the people either that I've entered into the system or from Sweetwater County that have already signed a petition, so I could get a list or not. I know I can create a walking list and exclude it, but I'd like to be able to create just like a spreadsheet type list.
Okay, I'm going to suggest that Chris Bell chat with you after the call, or email after the call. That's something that I know Chris can Chris is the expert on how to use Van and get whatever. I know Van is very capable, and let's have you and Chris talk with each other shortly after the call. Is that okay?
Sounds good.
And I have a question, Ken.
Yeah.
What do you do with circulators that are not circulating, period? However you want to address this, whenever you want to address this, I've got 2 of them that, for all intents and purposes, they're deadbeat circulators.
Well, maybe we can kick them in the rear end when we schedule a day of action and get them to come to the day of action. If they won't come to the day of action, and if they have no signatures at all, get their petitions back and give them to somebody who will circulate them.
That's what I'm wondering. Can I just ask for their petition back and continue on?
If they haven't filled it, if there's no signatures on it yet, you can get the petition back from them. If they're not going to do anything and they have done absolutely nothing, that you can get them back. Okay. So we need to keep moving here. We have a lot to cover. So let me very quickly just go through a couple of updates from the steering committee. We're still working on trying to find a field organizer. The lack of a field organizer has some implications for us right now and how we're going to do the days of action, which we'll talk about in a little second, in a minute. We do have 2 new team leaders in Cheyenne, which is great, in Laramie County. That's a big county. We need it, and so we're now more confident. We've got some good leadership there. They're not on the call tonight because they're having an organization meeting tonight at the very same time. So they're meeting with each other, getting going, and that sounds really good. I have some leads on Carbon County I'm working on. I have public events, as we've mentioned, in Jackson, Lander, and Riverton. Also, we have a great event coming up in Cheyenne, September 14th, featuring Jeff Clements, who is the president of American Promise. He's going to be in the region. He's going to California and stop in Denver, and after a stop in Denver on the 13th, he's going to come up to Cheyenne on the 14th and do a public event there and try and get some more people involved and interested. So we're working. So Cheyenne is starting to pick up a little bit, which is great. Website stuff. If you've had a chance to go onto the website, you can see there's now the Where to Sign page available. We have a couple of counties that have contact information that's other than info@wyomingpromise.org. We need more of you. So I know Shelby had sent around an email some time ago. Every county ought to have its own unique email address so that when somebody wants to contact a particular county team, there's an email for you. And we're recommending that you use a free email account like Gmail. So we have, for example, Albany County is the first one on the list. They have a list called albanywp@gmail.com. It's a free address, and whoever sets it up then can get the email directly, and it goes straight to you. So if you haven't done that yet, please set up a natronawp@gmail.com to handle Natrona County, and that way when people go to the website and they say, I want to find, who do I contact in Carbon County to get to find a petition, you can click on that and an email will go right out to the Carbon County leader, whoever that turns out to be. Also, and I know, I think it was Chris who said you may have a business location up in Sheridan. We have a couple of counties that have identified businesses. I know in Albany County we have several businesses where there are circulators there most of the day or a lot of the time, so people can walk in and say, can I sign the petition here? And so if you can find those kinds of places in your county, please let Shelby know so we can update that Where to Sign page. And the more places we have identified like that, the more we're going to get people understand this is a serious effort that's really taking off.
And can I just chime in there really quick, Ken?
Sure.
Any contact information you want to provide. We just generally recommended a free email address that people can get in touch with you with. But if you guys have a phone number you want to provide, we don't have to put your name. Just any contact information for your county that you want to provide on our website to get in touch with people would be fantastic, as well as a list of any local businesses. We just want to get that up on the website as soon as possible on the Where to Sign tab. Eventually that Where to Sign tab can also meld into a how far along are we in each county. Also, I want to put on there any data manager positions or any other kind of positions that we still need in that county, so people can go to that one tab and see basically, what we still need, where we're at in that county. But the first step is just getting contact information. So whatever contact information you're comfortable with providing is fantastic. So just if you can email me or info@wyomingpromise.org or shelby.shadwell@gmail.com with any contact information for your county, as well as businesses, I'll get that up immediately. And it really does show people that visit the website that we are making progress.
Yes. Okay. Next item on the agenda is data management, and then I'm going to turn it over to Chris for some additional talk about the canvas, because data management and canvassing go hand in hand. So I'll start off with where we are with the data and then turn it over to Chris. So we've said in the past that we hope to begin door-to-door canvassing soon, and now I'm saying we are going to do door-to-door canvassing very soon. We had a steering committee meeting the other night. One of our members made the point that it's time to buckle up. Things are going to get real quick, and she didn't say things. Things get real quick. So we need to have, before we get into the door-to-door canvas, and we have a lot of volunteers here who are actually aching to get started. They really like doing that kind of stuff, and they want to go start knocking on doors, so we're going to let them do that here within the next couple of weeks. But before we can do that, we really do want to make sure that all of the interim data is entered. So we know that there are petitions out there that no data wrangler has ever seen and has never entered into VAN. So if you know of circulators who have not yet given their partially completed petitions to a data manager, have them do so right away, immediately, so that we can, A, get our numbers up where we think they ought to be, but also so that when we start cutting turf, we will only include in that turf people who are registered to vote who have not yet signed. If somebody has signed the petition, we'll mark them off as having signed in VAN, and then they will disappear from the turfs, and we don't knock on their doors. We don't bother them again because we've already got their signature. So it's really important to have that data entered as soon as possible, and then we'll start going out and knocking on doors. So where are we? There was a question earlier. The last report we got from Chris, and I don't know if it's changed since Monday night, we had just under 1,700 signatures so far, but we know that number is low. We know, for example, we have almost no signatures recorded right now in Natrona. We know that there's at least 300 or 400, probably 500 signatures in Natrona that are on petitions that have not yet seen a data manager, because we didn't have a data manager there until recently. And I know Chris is going to be training those data managers the next couple of days, so we know that number is going to go up pretty quickly once we get those data managers trained. So our best guess right now is you probably got 2,500 signatures around the state. Some counties are doing fantastic. Others we have almost nothing. So we have to step it up. I do think that the door-to-door canvas is going to start bringing in big numbers. So if we have 5 people go out on a day of action, and each one gets 70 to 100 signatures, we're going to pick up 400 to 500 signatures on that day of action. And we start doing those all around the state, and our numbers will go up pretty quickly. But we've got to start doing that because otherwise we're way behind. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Chris Bell. We want to talk about how we're going to do the door-to-door canvas, and how we're going to use Van to accomplish the purpose. So, Chris, take it away.
Sure. Just to reiterate a lot of what Ken was saying, everyone, Shelby really hit on this about, it's a very serious effort. And so I encourage you to really focus over these next couple of days of getting that data entered. Some counties are lacking currently that I know. I just heard a few of you mention, you have a couple hundred signatures you believe, but, we're only showing 10 in the database. Ken hit on why that's so important. Another thing of what else I want you all to be doing before we get into door-to-door canvassing, be sure to go back anytime you receive an email from Wyoming Promise. Generally, Shelby sends these out. Be sure to check these because Shelby's including a lot of good information. One important document that was sent out recently was some additional data entry tips. And the reason I bring this up is I heard someone say that they're having about a 10% error rate. Once you review these additional data tips, I'm actually having some of the data managers here in Albany County only having error rates as low as about 2%. The highest we've had is an error rate of once they've been able to go back to some of these names is about a 5%. So just be sure to review that additional data tips document. Feel free to reach out to me. I'd be happy to walk you through it one more time because, again, there's a lot of names in this database. It's a little nuanced. We just want to make sure we're taking all the appropriate steps to finding all of these people. And it's extremely important before we get into door-to-door canvassing. So with that, as Ken was talking, this is really where we're going to start getting the bulk of our signatures. So up to this point, it's been a few months since we've actually started gathering signatures. We can estimate that we probably have about 2,500. Showing we have 1,700 showing about 2,500 is what we're going to guess, trying to be conservative. The reason door-to-door canvassing is so important is, you could have 5 canvassers go out for an hour, and you could come back with 300 signatures just like that. That's automatically, 20% if I'm doing my quick math right, of what we already have. So again, this is a really important effort, and this is why we're making this transition now. We're going to try and have our first one in September. I know Albany County is ready. Albany County's already been, really crushing it. Got to give a shout out to them. They have the most names entered. They're approaching 600. So good job, Albany County. With this, data managers, your role is going to increase from here. So you've been entering data from petitions. After this, we're going to start having you, if your county uses paper lists, which is where I believe Ken and the steering committee wants us to go, we're going to start needing people entering data from these walk lists as well. The reason we need data entered from walk lists as well as the signed petitions is if someone refuses to sign, they say, I don't want to sign this petition, or just plain out they don't want to talk to you at the doors. We don't want to bother them again, period. And so this is why entering the data from, that's just one of several examples of why we want to actually enter data when canvassing starts. So I would encourage data managers, I would encourage county team leaders, start finding additional people to help with data entry. It's not a bad idea to actually have people enter their own data. If they go out for a canvass and they're using a paper walk list or a street sheet, have them come in, have a computer set up right there to where they can go through and enter their data really quick. Again, I know Ken and the steering committee really want us to use a paper walk list, but for some of you that are more advanced, I'm looking at you here, Mike Masterson. If you'd be comfortable with minivan, I definitely think that's an option. This is the walk lists are sent directly to your tablet or your cell phone, and you enter it as you go, and as soon as you connect it to Wi-Fi, it'll automatically sync the data. There's no need to do any data entry then. So for those of you that would maybe like to do that, if the steering committee is all right with that, which I'll get a little more confirmation, maybe just for some advanced members, Mike, again, if you guys want to do that, minivan's definitely open.
Let me just jump in there real quick, Chris. I am totally in favor of using minivan if you're comfortable doing it. When I was running for office last summer, I was using minivan. And basically, you're doing data entry at the door. As soon as the door closes, you can check off a box. This person was home, not home, signed, had moved, whatever the response is. You can write it down as soon as the door closes, or as soon as you give up on the contact. And then it gets synced to me. So that saves everybody a lot of time. but there's a learning curve to it. If you're not comfortable with doing that off of your phone or off of your tablet, then the paper lists are much simpler. And so I think our default is a lot of our circulators will not have done this kind of work before, and rather than have them get intimidated by minivan on a tablet device or on a mobile device, the paper lists are easy. But that does require manual entry after the fact. Talk to your circulators. If they are, some of them may have experience with minivan already. If they have, great, let's do that, because that's going to make the data manager's job that much easier. It's a matter of simply syncing your mobile device to main van, and that happens in an instant.
Yeah, thank you so much, Ken. Yeah, Ken's absolutely right, guys. Just sort of let us know what you want to do, what you want your county doing. So that's just a little bit of background. I want to talk briefly, too. The other thing about canvassing-wise is a great opportunity while we're getting into this now is the data tells us we're only going to be going to doors of registered active voters. So this ensures, instead of, being at events and having to ask or just hoping that people know, we will actually know from the Secretary of State's data that these are registered people. It's going to help decrease our error rates even more. So that's another good aspect to that. With the going door-to-door canvassing, each of you will be, obviously centered within your county. So what we'd like to do is to set up another very brief training to have the county team leaders or the data managers cut turfs within your county. And a turf is defined as just a small geographical area of voters. So instead of, having all, 13,000 or so people within your county, we're going to shave this down to small neighborhoods of anywhere from, 30 to 80 voters that you can go out and speak to. A person completes a shift, they come back to internet, that turf might get knocked down to 20 people if they got 10 positive signatures. So that is one of the things that we would love to have data managers and county team leaders help us with is cutting up these turfs. It's not a long time commitment by any means. To me, it's actually a little fun. You look at the satellite within the of your city or your county within the database, and you just draw some geographical lines. I'm going to be creating a walkthrough of that, just as I've done with all of the data entry tips too for reference, but I'd love to just do a real quick training for everyone. We will, just like we've done in the past, send out some emails trying to get people signed up to attend these trainings, and we'll definitely hold multiple of them. In addition to that, you guys won't be just, we won't just say, okay, we're doing door canvassing, go for it. American Promise has already prepared a bunch of materials for us, and Shelby's actually compiled these. So you guys will have scripts of what to say at the doors. Something as simple as, hi, my name's Chris. I'm out here walking with Wyoming Promise. We're trying to get money out of politics. Would you like to sign a petition? Obviously, it'll go a little bit more in depth as that. There'll be a couple more questions potentially, if they're really energetic. Would you like to donate, go to the website? Would you like to volunteer? All the way down to, if you catch the husband in the household and his wife's not there, when's a good time to come back to talk to your wife? We'll have automatic reminders of that. In even more so, breaking it down of, well, if you tell your wife that there is a petition down at, Jim's fly shop down the road, she can go there and sign it as well. So with this, we'll make sure you guys are absolutely completely prepared. We'll have literature there, so you can be giving literature to people at the doors, what to say. They can sign the petition immediately. As Shelby's going to talk a little later, if you need supplies, please let Wyoming Promise know. I imagine, I don't want to speak to the steering committee, but I imagine they would like to have, people going out in T-shirts or with a sticker on so people know what you're out there for. And then the sort of last point too, for county team leaders, really work so when you hold days of action, and I'll explain what days of action are a little bit more. I might have passed over that. Try and have people go out in pairs. This is going to make this immensely easier for a myriad of reasons. People are going to feel more comfortable going out. In two, plus we're going to, if you have paper walk lists and literature and the actual petition, that's a lot of stuff to sort of handle on your own. So, if one person wants to to hold the literature and the walk list while the other person holds the petition. And it's going to make your jobs immensely easier. It's going to make it funner. So really, it also helps with comfortability. So really try and have people go out in pairs when they go canvassing as well. So and then just to jump back, so days of action too are just defined as, like Ken said, in Albany County, we have our vector of, okay, this was the day that the Constitution was signed, so let's have a big volunteer event. This is where we can get 20 volunteers or so to come to the day of action, and everybody's going to go out and knock doors. The opportunity that this presents for us is that this isn't just a one-day opportunity. We get 20 volunteers to go out on this one day. That's amazing. There's so many new names for us. But some of these volunteers, say we get 10 of them who really enjoyed their time, they say, okay, I can go out every Wednesday. Now as a county team leader and the data manager can work with this person. So every Wednesday they have their turf. It's refreshed with the voters who weren't home the first time or who haven't signed. They can go back every Wednesday. So we really want to strive to start having consistent volunteers going out to the doors. And really don't get discouraged if you don't have a lot of people. In all of my experience of doing this in about 5 years now, generally the best teams are if you have 5 or 6 people who are really committed to the effort and we're going out a week, you'd be amazed at the amount of work that can actually get accomplished and get done with that. So with that, just a brief recap. We're going to slowly start transitioning into the phase. Actually, I should say quickly, we're not going to rush anything. We're going to make sure you guys are comfortable, have everything you absolutely need. We're going to start holding training. The very first thing is to get your turfs cut. The second part of that will be to work with county team leaders, specifically and data managers, of making sure that your volunteers, your circulators, canvassers are getting the appropriate turfs to go out, to know how to go out pairs, everything paired that way. And pretty sure that's it. Ken or Shelby, do you have anything else you think I'm missing with this?
Yeah, let me just kind of reemphasize something that I think you said, but I just want to make sure it's completely clear. Earlier in the call, I said we still have not yet found a field organizer. One of the things we hoped that a field organizer could help us with would be some of this training, but also cutting some turfs. But we don't have a field organizer, so the way the turfs get cut now is we're going to have to rely on the county team leaders and the data managers in particular. The data managers will probably be the ones who have the most familiarity with how VAN works. VAN is the program you use to cut the turf. And as I mentioned at the very beginning, it's fairly easy. It's kind of fun to draw pictures on a map and figure out who's in that square that you just drew. So it's fairly easy to do. We will do the training, but it's going to be something that falls to the data managers, and then hopefully if some of your circulators do want to use Minivan, then you cut the turf, send them a link to their turf, and they put it on their phone and go walk the turf, and it's all done. If you're using paper, then on a day of action, for example, you're going to probably have a headquarters at somebody's house or in a church social hall or wherever you have some free space. Have everybody come back to that location, bring their petitions, have your computer set up, and hopefully get data entered right there on the spot. So we keep on going, and we know we want to stay on top of the data entry during these days of action so that if we're going out next week, the data has it updated so those who have signed drop off the list, and those who were not home remain on the list, and we can go back and recontact them.
I can add one.
Oh, sorry, Sheldon.
Sorry. I'll add one thing to that. Something that would be good for county team leaders and data managers, since we want to get as much data that has been collected so far, so as many signatures as possible so far in VAN, you might just say, and I know everybody's keeping up with it really great, but you might just set a date here in the next week or so and say, we want to make sure we get every signature we've got entered into VAN within a week, and then get those petitions back out to the circulators, just so we have as much data as possible. Because right now, as we've said, we have about 1,700, but we're probably in more about 2,500, and we just want to get that as much of that data entered as soon as possible. So if you want to set a deadline for your county, that could be helpful in just getting as much as possible entered.
Thank you, Shelby. Yeah, guys, just to reiterate all that Ken Shelby's absolutely right. So really put a deadline down. We're going to have just a little bit of shifting of a culture, some more accountability and stuff of making sure these names are entered so that we're acting a lot more efficiently. And then, especially once we go to this too, we really need to work as a team. As just to reiterate my point from earlier, if you can find someone else to help you with data entry, because when we go into door-to-door canvassing, data entry becomes a lot more. There's a lot more emphasis on getting data entered promptly, especially as the data comes in daily from walk lists and your petitions as well. So a lot more emphasis as we start shifting into this. And I believe that's all I have.
Okay, great. Just wanted to also suggest that if you do have a friend who's not a circulator, that's great. Bring them. They might want to help you walk around. If you're going out in pairs, one person is the circulator who is managing the petition. The other person there is to help have the conversation at the door, also to manage all of the walk list and all the other information. The other information is what I wanted to talk about, and that is we're going to place another order very soon for some more of those trifold brochures. I think we finally got it down, so all the typos and grammatical mistakes are out of it, and I think it works pretty well as a handout, so you can take those with you. We will get more printed and send them around to you. When you have a day of action, we can send you a whole bunch to fold up and use. We're going to have a second handout as well, which is going to be another one-page thing that you will not have nearly as many, but we'll have it available, and that's a explanation, frequently asked questions about Article 5 conventions, because we are still getting some static in several different places about fear of an Article 5 convention. I think some of you were on that call we had last week. We all think that that's not a very serious threat at all, but if you get a question like that, how do you answer the question? We're going to have a handout that you can give to that person to try and allay their fears about an Article 5 convention. Now, we're not going to raise that question in our script, but we're going to be prepared to answer the questions if they are asked. So we'll have that information as well. Is there anything else, Shelby or Chris, that we need to talk about the door-to-door canvas?
I can't think of any.
Yeah, September 17th is the anniversary of the signing of the U.S. Constitution. What anniversary is it? Like 230 or something?
230.
Yeah, that's September 17th. And American Promise is organizing a nationwide event saying, let's celebrate the signing of the Constitution by protecting it from money. And so we're thinking that we might use that as that's a Sunday, so maybe the 16th as part of that nationwide celebration of the ratification of the Constitution. We might go out on the 16th and say, our way of celebrating this is to go seek petitions to protect the Constitution from moneyed interest and corporate donations. So we can maybe use that as part of our publicity. If we're going to do a day of action, we might want to put a little notice in the paper. Look for a Wyoming Promise volunteer on September 16th. They're out celebrating the ratification of the Constitution by gathering signatures for free and fair elections. So there's little gimmicks we can use to try and get some attention and hopefully get people excited about greeting you at the door. Okay, if there's nothing else about the door-to-door canvas, a couple more things briefly. Shelby, you want to talk about fundraising?
Sure. Yeah. No. American Promise did an email to folks in Wyoming, and I sent another one out via Action Network about fundraising, and we've gotten a bump from that, but ideally we're still trying to raise money. So we definitely want to do that, and we're going to keep doing everything we can here at the state level, targeting Facebook ads for donations and things like that. But I think it's a good idea. Definitely, if you are at any events, have a little donation jar, especially if you encounter a very enthusiastic supporter, or even people that they may not want to volunteer, but they may want to donate. And so always having that ask out there, I think, is important. And even when it comes to the door-to-door canvassing, I'm not good at fundraising. And Ken and I have talked about this a little bit. Ideally, in an ideal world, we'd have enough money to hire a fundraiser that could help us raise even more money. But we're not quite there yet. So this is a learning experience for me as well. I don't know, Ken, did you have anything to add to that?
Just that you should talk, when you talk to your circulators, if somebody's out canvassing and they encounter a very enthusiastic person, yes, we need to do this, and how can I help? The circulator should not be afraid to say, hey, if you want to help, volunteer. If you don't want to volunteer, go to our website and make a donation. And that's why it's going to be important, I think, when you're circulating, to have that trifold with you to give to that person, because the website address is on the trifold. So, yeah, if you're really excited about helping us out, go to our website, click the donate button, and send us some money, and that'll help us out a lot. So we need to be not bashful about asking people, even as they sign the petition, if they're really excited about it, maybe they can also make a donation and give them the flyer to the trifold to steer them in the right direction.
And also, I would add to that, if you do make email addresses for your county, or if you give us your own email address to put on the website, like we said on the Where to Sign tab, which is really important. Add something at the bottom. You can see that at if we reply from info@wyomingpromise.org, we just have a little donate button or volunteer button that steers people to the donate and volunteer portions of our website, and that could also be helpful, just having those extra little buttons there to encourage people to donate.
Okay, then one last comment, and then we'll throw it open for any questions or comments. I just want to remind people, if you're having a public event, you're going out to the farmer's market and you're circulating petitions, you have a table someplace, take pictures. People like to see who's doing what, and we've done a couple pictures. That's great, but if you've got a good picture of somebody circulating or having a conversation with a voter, send us a picture, and we can put that on the website. And also, finally, if you need supplies, as Shelby mentioned, we have another T-shirt order in, and those should be arriving later this week. The buttons will be coming in later this week. We're going to be ordering more flyers. If you need more supplies, let us know, and we'll be sure to get them out to you as soon as possible. So with that, are there any questions? Anybody has any comments, questions? Press 1 to raise your hand if you do. And I'm not seeing any hands going up. Okay, Melissa has put her hand up. Go ahead,
Hello?
Melissa.
Yeah.
I had two questions. One is, if us showing up at these big events like the Cheyenne event, if we get people to come over for that, is that helpful? And the other was, is the minivan an app that we can access, or how do people do that?
Yes. Okay, I'll take both of those questions. Minivan is an app. You go to the App Store, you can download it. It's real easy to download and use. There's a little bit of a learning curve. It took me a couple of days of canvassing to really understand all the capabilities it had, but it's really a pretty powerful thing once you get to be able to use it. For the event in Cheyenne, if you want to come over and see Jeff Clements, that's fantastic. The main idea behind that event is to try and generate some interest in Laramie County. But if we have a bigger audience, because some people come over from Laramie, fantastic. I'd love to. We can carpool over. I'm going to be there. I think Shelby's going to be there. We're probably going to carpool. We can put some more people in the truck too. So if you want to come on over, let us know.
Okay.
Yeah, Ken has gotten a lot of experience carpooling to Cheyenne. It's kind of a new tradition, and I look forward to it. So it's usually a fun ride.
Okay.
Thank you.
Anybody else have a question?
I will, if anybody else has a question, feel free to raise your hand at any time. I will chime in here and say that, again, what we're really trying to get going here is that where to sign tab on the website, because info@wyomingpromise.org is getting a lot of emails. Where do I sign in my county? And it's going to be more and more efficient and helpful when we do get some contact information for each county. So if you want to do your own email address or phone number, or you want to make a free email address or phone number, and that whatever you want to do is fine. If you can just email us with that info so we can get it on the website as soon as possible. Again, that helps to show progress in each county rather than just having a generalized sort of volunteer or info@wyomingpromise.org. That helps to show that counties are getting active. And again, we're going to really try to put eventually real-time active numbers and progress on there, as well as letting people know under each county what roles still need to be filled. So if you can email me any contact information for your county specifically, we'll get it on there. And also, if you don't mind putting on there any roles you still need filled, whether it's data, circulators. I know we're looking for circulators everywhere, but especially if it's data or a co-team leader, we can put that call right under the county. So people, when they go where to sign and they really want to sign the petition, they can say, oh, well, they need a data manager too. That's cool. Maybe I can volunteer for that. And then they can get in touch with you, and we can get things rolling even faster as people visit the website, because they are visiting the website, and they continue to keep those asks. So that communication, knowing where they can sign in each county, and contact information for each county is going to be really, really helpful if you guys can get that to me as soon as possible. That's all.
Okay, Kathy, Mike, have your hand up.
I just set up an email account for Sweetwater County, and maybe the naming convention is backwards. I put wildpromisesweetwater@gmail.com.
That's fine.
That's fine. Just email me that so I don't misspell or anything, and send that my way. And if you want to have a phone number, that's fine. If not, that's fine. Just as long as we get that more specific information on there, it's going to be great.
Okay. And the minivan, what I've experienced, I used it a little bit, and I've got a little, smartphone, but the biggest problem I had with that was the bandwidth. There's not a lot in Superior, Wyoming, and Jamestown and Granger and Kemmer. So bandwidth is always a problem.
Actually, it's not really a problem, because you don't have to have it syncing every second. What I was doing when I was canvassing last summer, I was out in the hinterlands of Albany County where there's no coverage at all, but that's okay. So what you do is it downloads the list and the map, so you don't need to be connected to the internet or connected to cell phones at all. It's downloaded. It's contained in your device, and then so you can go through and make all your marks and finish the turf. And then when you get back home, that's what I would do, is I just get back home and log back onto my Wi-Fi and push a button that says sync, and all of a sudden it all just gets uploaded at once. So you don't need to be uploading it every minute, but at the end of your shift, when you're done for the day, you sync it and it's done. Okay. Any other questions? Okay, nobody else has a hand up, so thank you all for joining the call. That was a very productive call, and we will be in touch. If you have ideas about when you want to do a day of action in your county, let us know, and we'll make sure we get all the materials you need to make that happen and all the training you need to make that happen. So let's find dates and let us know, and let's get going.
And I'll just add to that really quick. I'll send out a follow-up email tomorrow and we're going to probably talk a little bit more about a cutting turfs training conference call or meeting or something like that. And I'll be resending out those scripts from the American Promise training material. And the data entry tips, I'll send those out again. And I think, so just look for an email, a comprehensive email from me tomorrow, as well as a recording from this talk, so folks who weren't able to join can listen to it and get up to speed. So thanks everybody for joining. If there's nothing else, I'm going to hop off here.
Okay. Thank you all for coming. We'll be talking again soon. Bye-bye.
You are currently the only person in this conference.